Hey guys, welcome back to the second part of this video series on React application development. In the last video, we saw how to install Node.js and create our first React app. Now, in this video, we'll be going through the structure of the React project. So let's start. Now, if I go back to my VS Code, here we can see there are multiple folders here. Now, if you go to the Node modules, you can see there are multiple folders here. These are all npm packages that React needs in order to operate. We will not be making changes to any of these folders, as those are packages that are already built by some other people and just being installed in our system for using React. Now, in the public folder, we have a favicon, index.html, logo, another logo, manifest.json and robots.txt. We'll only be using this index.html to add in the bootstrap CDNs or any other CDNs that will be required. All the changes that we'll be making to the React project will be inside of this source folder. Here we have app.css. It contains the CSS code for the application. Next we have the app.js. We'll be writing all our HTML code in this file. Don't worry about the structure of the file. We'll be discussing that later in this video. Next we have app.test. This is required to test the React app. We won't be changing anything in this file. Next we have index.css. This is the global CSS for the React project. Next we have the index.js. This is the root of the React project. Here, if you see, there's a React DOM, and inside the React DOM there's a render method. Now what this render method does is, whatever code that we write in our React project, it converts that to plain JavaScript and then attaches it to the element with the ID of root. This element with the ID of root is present in the public folder and inside the index.html. Here, all the content is converted to plain JavaScript and is attached here inside this div with the ID of root. Let's go through the flow of the React project. Inside the browser, the index.html opens, and inside of this div with the ID of root will be the compiled JavaScript files that React generates for us and puts inside this div. Now this div contains the content that is coming from the index.js. So if we go to the index.js, here we can see, we'll talk about this React.strict mode later in this video. For now, we'll concentrate on this app. Now, if you see this app, this is coming from this place, that is import app from ./app. Now, what this means is that we are importing this app.js file inside of this index.js file. The extension is not mandatory if it is a .js file. If it is some other kind of file, example JSON, we'll have to mention the type of the file. But since it is a JS file, we don't need it. Now here / means the current directory and app represents the file name. So now we have imported the app and we have just passed in a self-closing tag as app. All this setup is already done by React. We don't need to learn about all these logo.svg, report web vitals and setup tests.js. Next we go to the package.json, which is a very important part. All the packages that we'll be using inside the React project will be listed here along with the version. So here you can see the dependency are testing libraries /test DOM and React, React DOM, React scripts, web vitals, etc. Also in the script section, we can see the start. Remember that in order to start the React application, we run a command that was npm start. So that start command just came in from here. So what it does is it runs React scripts start, which will start the React server. We also have build function, which will generate a build that we'll use to deploy later on in this course. Now let's go back to the app.js and understand the structure of this file. So here what we can see is we are importing the logo from the logo.svg file. This one is being imported. Remember, I told you that only for JS file we don't need the extension, but for SVG file we'll need the extension. So we are importing this. Next, we are also importing the CSS. You can see that this syntax and this syntax is different because here we are importing the SVG as a variable, that is logo. But for CSS, we don't need to import it as a variable. It is directly applied to the HTML if we import it. So we import the CSS like this and any other file that we need like this. The syntax is import, variable name, from, and then the location. Now here we can see there's a keyword that is called function. If you are not new to programming, you definitely know the meaning of this keyword function. Function is a block of code that can be accessible by a name. For example, here we have app. So inside this app function, we have a return statement that will return the entire HTML. So whatever this function returns will be displayed in the web browser. Now here we have a plain and simple HTML code that we normally use. But here we can see a unique thing, that is class name. Now in normal web development, we just use class to define the CSS. But in React, class represents a JavaScript class. So to add styling from a class, we'll need to type in the keyword class name instead of class. Now here you can see there's a class name of app. Now this app class is defined in the app.css here. You can see. Now going back to the app.js. Now I hope that you have understood why we use class name and not class. Now here we have another unique statement. Now in basic web development, what we used to do is, in order to show an image, we used to type in an image tag with a source property which contained the location of the image. But here we are using this unique type of statement. Now what it does is it provides the SVG to this source property of the image tag. Now if we want to see what this tag is, we'll just go to our browser. Now here you can see the React logo spinning. So this is the SVG that is being provided here through this logo property. Now if I right click on it and click on inspect and just click on this selector and then click on this logo, here we can see it points out the header. Now if I open this, we can see that there's a SVG icon that is provided to the image source. So this is coming from the variable that is the logo. Now I hope you have understood the structure of this file. Whatever is being rendered here is also visible here. Okay, so if we want to edit this page, we'll just go to app.js and just we'll remove this. I'll just type in hello world and then just save. Now as soon as we save, it will start to recompile. It has recompiled it, and if we see, we can see that hello world is here. So this was our first change in the React project. So in this video, we learned about the structure of the React project and how we can make changes in our React project. In the next video, we'll be adding Bootstrap to our project and starting off with few designs. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button and like the video if you gain some knowledge about React in this video. See you in the next video. Bye bye.